Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Caleb from the Southern Fried Geekery podcast. Long time no see. It's been a minute since I recorded one of these or done anything for the YouTube channel, and I feel bad for that. So sorry about that. It's hard figuring out time to do stuff. A lot of you guys who are on Facebooks with me, you know that we are still dealing with the house getting put back together after the small fire. We're still staying with friends. So, you know, hopefully soon I will be back in my office and can record videos in my regular spot. But for now, I'm using my friend Paul's office to do all this stuff. But normally what I record on here is I'll do little things, previews videos and stuff like that. And I was going to do that. I was ready to do that again, but looked at the Marvel's catalog, and Silver Surfer Black is about the only thing that really piqued my interest. Everything else is just more War of the Realm stuff, which is fine. It's just tie-ins to that, and it's not stuff that I particularly care about. DC had a few things. The Big Book had a little bit, not a lot. It was cool seeing them advertise so much for Pride Month. That was dope. Glad to see that. There are a few graphic novels and OGNs and stuff like that I'm going to order that are reprints for Pride Month out of that catalog. So. So cool, but there wasn't much new stuff. There's not a lot of new content that really got me. So I've been kind of thinking about what I can do, because I want to try to do one of these videos a week for the show, kind of help promote the YouTube channel, this, that, and the other, and you know, just kind of hang out and talk about comics in a way that we don't get to on the podcast every Sunday, which you guys should be listening to. If you're not listening to it, shame on you. Go listen to that podcast. It's good. It's been really good lately. The guys are kicking ass. The stuff we recorded in Chicago and in Portland sounded great. Yeah, no complaints. The podcast has been great. But I thought every week we've been posting our new comic book day gets on the Facebook page. Myself and a bunch of you guys, we love throwing that stuff out there. The new stuff that we get for new comic book day. A lot of us still go to the LCS to pick it up. I know a lot of you guys read digitally or you order through online services, and that's rad. Nothing against that whatsoever. You just get stuff at different times, but a lot of us still do the local shops for New Comic Book Day, and you get to pick up lots of cool stuff. So I thought, why not do one of these a week for New Comic Book Day, just as a little extra added bonus for the people who like the podcast, people who listen to the show for comics content and that stuff. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to put the little, hang on just 1 second. You want to come say hi? You're jingling. Oh, don't hit your head. Jezebel wants to say hi. Say hi. But yeah, so I wanted to throw some extra stuff up for that. Just talk about comics and stuff. And so what better to do than show you guys the new books that I'm reading every week. Sorry about that, if that jiggled. Because we only talk about one book a week, or 2 books a week max. So first and foremost, just take these out of the bags. Avengers No Road Home number 10 came out today. Super pumped about that. This series has been amazing. Al Ewing, Jim Zub, Mark Waid writing it. Glad that Sean Isaacs is on this as well. I super dig that dude's cartooning. Super dig it. It's wonderful. Batman 69. I hope it's better than Batman 68. It's more Bat and the Cat stuff. Hopefully we're finally moving out of the whole dreamscape anything. It's got Yannick Paquette on the art, so that's promising. The interiors look great. Not familiar with the colors on this book, but fun times. Daredevil number 4, Chip Zdarsky, Marco Cicchetto, and Gio on the covers. This book has been amazing, guys. I love it. If you had told me 2 years ago that I would be reading so much Chip Zdarsky, I would have probably laughed at you. But he's killing it at Marvel right now, and Cicchetto's lines are incredible. I don't know. I'm really digging it. Some folks aren't. I know a lot of folks are falling off of it, especially with what happened in the last issue. The person that showed up, a lot of people took issue with that, which is fine. I don't know. I'm enjoying the story. this is the hotness. It doesn't get much better than this. Gideon Falls, number 12. Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrento, and Dave Stewart on the colors. It's the best. Another good series I've been super enjoying that will probably be on my best of list at some point this year. Middle West. Scotty Young, Jorge Corona, Nate Picos, John Francis Ballou on the colors. This is the best writing Scotty's done to date. And I say that as somebody who likes most of what Scotty's done. I could care less about his Deadpool stuff, but that's just me. I know some of you guys might like it. No judgment there. A little bit more of the same from a little bit ago. Spider-Man Life Story number 2. So what they're doing with this series, if you don't know, it's the retelling of the Spider-Man story as if he aged through the decades. None of that stuff where, the same Pete that existed in the 60s is the same Pete that was in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and so on as a teenager or a 20-year-old. So they're actually aging him through time with this. And when I said it was more of the same, it's because it's Chip Zdarsky. And this book is amazing. It's got some Mark Bagley on the art, some Andrew Hennessy, Frank D'Amato. Great team. I really enjoyed number 1. I'm not a Spidey dude, so I didn't know how I would kind of connect to it. Because, look, I mean, I like Spidey well enough, but Pete's never been my dude. So, yeah, but loved it. Thoroughly enjoyed the first issue, so I jumped on it. Shuri, fantastic series. I don't know why it's rated teen. I mean, I don't know why half of Marvel books are rated teen, but this is a great story for almost any age of a kid. It's fun, man. It's kind of telling what happens in the vacuum because Black Panther T'Challa is out in space, but it's Vita Ayala, Paul Davidson, Triana Farrell on the colors. Really, really cool series. War of the Realms, we're getting all the tie-ins are starting to come out now. But I've been reading Thor. I love what Jason Aaron's doing with it. Mike Del Mundo's back on this. Mike Del Mundo's hit or miss for a lot of you guys out there. He is for me too. So nothing against that. But I still like the series, and it's I'm gonna follow Aaron until the end of his Thor run. I know a lot of folks are wondering if he's about to jump off. I don't think he is. I think he's got a plan to do a couple more arcs of Thor, even past this War of the Realm. Uncanny X-Men finally is good again. That's happy making. Got a lot of Marvel this week. But it's Matt Rosenberg and LaRocca, Salvador LaRocca with Guru EFX on art. I didn't like the miniseries. I know a lot of you guys have heard me talk about that, the weekly thing they did, but the last few issues have been dope. It's good to have, spoilers, Cyclops is back, so, and it's the good Cyclops. So, fun having that dude back. Last but certainly not least, West Coast Avengers, Kelly Thompson, Triana Farrell on colors, Maury R, as a name I don't recognize, that I know has not been the penciler on this. This is ending soon, which is a big disappointment because this book has been really fun. It's got a lot of heart. It's got Gwenpool in it, and I never thought I would care about that character at all. So that tells you something. It's Gwenpool. I've never given a shit. I don't like gimmick characters. But she's lovable in this, and Kid Omega, Quentin Quagmire's in it, and there's some new characters that have really made me fall in love with them. So I hate to see it go, but I think this might be the last issue. It may not be, but getting away from Marvel, there's a new number 1 that I'm really excited about. Mary Shelley, Monster Hunter. I got this because Craig recommended it. It's an Aftershock book. It's Adam Glass, who has written several things. He wrote the Rough Riders series that I really enjoyed. I know he's writing Lollipop Kids with his son, that I know Sean's really, really liking. But this should be fun. It's Olivia Quarto-Briggs and Hayden Sherman. And the interiors look dope. I'm not familiar with either one of those names, but I like what I'm seeing. Aftershock is usually a safe bet, at least for my taste. I really dig what they're doing. Blossoms 666. It's weird living in a world where the Archie horror stuff is the best horror books on the market, but that is such the world that we live in. Afterlife of Archie, which I know they never finished, but it's still amazing. Jughead the Hunger is an incredible werewolf story, and now Blossom 666, which is a little bit slower. It's Cullen Bunn writing it, and Laura Braga drawing it. It's, like I said, it's slower. It's the Blossom twins are playing games. They're more cultish, if you will, but it's good. I wouldn't have stayed on it if it wasn't. And then, I don't know, last but certainly not least of the new stuff, the book I'm looking forward to the most this week, based after the showing in #1, is Little Bird. This book blew me out of the water. I don't know if you guys all read or not, but this style of cartooning, the story, I don't know how long it's going to last, but the jumping back and forth through character views, these intricate, almost psychedelic layouts. I mean, the whole thing is just insanely good. It's Darcy Van Polgeist, Ian Burcham, Matt Hollingsworth doing that book. Loved it, man. And, friends with a lot of the EOC guys and have a lot of, on the EOC forums. That book's blowing up over there too, so it's not just me. It's a stunning book by Image. It's great. Last week, I cut some books from my pull list, and because I'm a hoarder, cutting books from my pull list means I can add some more books to my pull list. So there's one series, it's a DC series that I haven't cared about ever. It's Green Lantern. I don't give a shit. I don't mind it when he pops in other books. I've never been on a Green Lantern title. I've never read a solo Green Lantern book. It's just not ever drawn me in, which, as many comics as I read, that's crazy, right? And so I was talking to Craig, because Craig has been talking this book up, and he convinced me to, hey, read the first 3 of this new series. If nothing else, for the Liam Sharp art. And Craig did not lead me wrong, and I had to turn around and eat some humble pie, that's okay. But I had a Green Lantern to my pull list, and I picked up the next 3. It's amazing, the way that the story is going and the world building that they're doing, or at least the seeming type of world building that they're doing, along with the art, along with the types of absurdist story that they're telling, reminds me a lot of Grimjack, which is the Ostrander Tim Truman book. Actually read this past year for the first time. I had the omnibus sent to me, and fell in love with it. It reminds me of maybe like the evolution of Tim Truman. It's not Tim Truman-esque. So when you look at Tim Truman's art and you look at Liam Sharp's art, you're not saying, oh, hey, this is, it's not transferable. They're not the same, but there is a lineage of evolution there. I think Liam Sharp is absolutely studying what Truman did, or what a lot of the guys, the 2000 AD guys did, when they followed suit over there, because it's you can see the kinship in the art, which is nice. He is not scared to fill up the page at all, and his designs are incredibly creative for what he's doing with the art. And it's Morrison, so it's going to some weird, funky places, which is fine. And maybe for me, for my taste, which I'm not a big Morrison fan, which was strange about this whole thing, maybe reading it in chunks is what made me enjoy it more. I know when I read All-Star Superman, I read the collected edition, and now it's probably one of my favorite books, but it's a masterpiece too, so it's hard to judge. You're not doing a one-for-one thing there, but reading all at once probably had a lot to do with my enjoyment of it. In the same way, reading like this in 3-issue bundles might help. So I'm going to continue to do that. So as they come in, I'm going to let a few stack up before I read them. But it's outstanding. Pick it up. I love it. Did some dollar bin shopping today because Matt, the proprietor of Kapow Comics over in Sherwood, Arkansas, for those of you who live in Central Arkansas, got some new stuff in, and he knows that I like weird cartooning, absurdist stuff, and queer-themed books. And so he hooked me up with a series that I actually had 3 issues of. I had 2, 5, and 6. I only needed 1, 3, and 4, but he got the entire series in and hooked me up for $1, for $1. And you can find all kinds. If you've never been to Cabal Comics, go and check out those dollar bins because there's some great stuff in there. But I got 1 through 6 of this series. I Was Kidnapped by Lesbian Pirates from Outer Space. Not a very well-known series, but it's by Megan Rose Gedris, who I have read elsewhere, and I can't remember off the top of my head where. But it's fun. It's formatted kind of like the old Archie books would be. There's a lot of zip tone. There's almost like a Michael Avon Oeming feel to it. Mike Allred, sorry, feel to it. In the color scheme, maybe it's more of a Laura Allred thing. But when I first saw these books in the back bins, I kind of fell in love with them. So happy to have the whole set. If I can find the other ones, if I can find the 2 complete sets, is essentially what I'm trying to say. I'm going to pick those up. Maybe I'll gift them to a friend because it's fun. It's fun to read. It's a really silly little book, really cute, really fun. And then I picked up a trade today. Something I've really been wanting. It's American Barbarian by Tom Scioli, who's a cartoonist I've got a lot of admiration for. He does these reminiscent of Kirby-esque, old school style art, cartooning. Very pulpy, this particular book is. And I dig it a lot. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Jim Rugg, Michel Fiffe in a way, although he doesn't have nearly the economy of line that Michel Fiffe does. He's not nearly as minimalist as Michel Fiffe, but it's really good. And so it's not what a lot of people consider standard comic art. I know with Michel Fiffe especially, there's a lot of people who don't care for him. I love it. I think it's really cool. I think it's a really, really interesting experiment with the medium to see what he's doing as far as minimalist art goes, and less is more. Also, with particularly Scioli and Michel Fiffe, their influence of the toy, the action figure art bleeds through a lot. So I really wanted it. It's got a little blurb on there from Rob Liefeld, it's Rob Liefeld. But I'm looking forward to it. So that's what I got for this week. That's my new comic book day gets. Had a great time at the store like we always do. I hopefully will keep making these videos. I want to. I enjoy doing them. We are getting ready to record another episode of the podcast Sunday like we always do. We're going to talk some comics. Not quite sure what we're going to talk about yet. We've got a powwow about that, some offline stuff, but y'all don't need to know about all that stuff. So I'm going to jump off here, and I've got some schoolwork to do and some comics to read. So, woohoo! Go forth and love some comics. Bye, y'all.